Ventricular septum, dividing the two ventricles. So this is the right ventricle. This is the left ventricle, and you can tell because the left ventricle has more muscle. Okay. So that makes this the bicuspid valve, right? Just the ridge muscles, which you can kind of see over here, and actually the other side maybe. See just the ridges there? That's all trabeculae cardi, just what the muscle's called in the ventricles. Okay. But if one of those muscles is attached to the chordae tendineae, then those are called what? Papillary muscles. So muscles that actually have the little cords attached are the papillary muscles. Okay. If they're just the ridges that make up the ventricular muscle, trabeculae cardi. Okay. So papillary muscles, chordae tendineae, bicuspid valve, because it's between the left atrium and which is kind of in this area, and the left ventricle. Good. So you can see part of the right atrium up here with its own muscles, but it's a much thinner wall, right? It doesn't have to pump very far. These are the pectinate muscles in this area. Okay. See what else is on the list.
Tricuspid.
Yep, tricuspid over here. You can see a little bit of it. You can see it, most of it over there. Here's the chordae tendineae is cut through. So here's the chordae tendineae and the papillary muscles holding on to the tricuspid on that side.
I'm sorry, that's the tricuspid.
That's the tricuspid. So it's always going to be leading into the much thinner walled ventricle, which is the right ventricle.
So that's how you orient.
Exactly.
The smaller section should be the right ventricle.
Yeah. If you see muscle that's very thick at all, it has to be ventricle. Okay. And then the thickest one is going to be the left ventricle.
Okay.
Yeah. And the thin, each atrium has very thin walls as far as muscle. Okay. All the shiny stuff that's surrounding the muscle,
endocardium.
That's the endocardium. Yeah. So endocardium is the innermost, right, kind of protective, right, covering. Okay. On the outside is what? The glistening on the heart itself. What's the outside membrane called? Not the fiber. We took off the fibers. If fibers was on here, we wouldn't even be able to tell the atria from the ventricles. It would be a thick sac. Okay. And so let's say we remove the fibers and also the parietal pericardium because it goes along with it. It's so attached. Okay. So and we don't have the pericardial cavity, okay, because we don't have all the space, right? So what is this part of it that's right on the heart muscle itself?
Visceral?
Epicardium, or visceral pericardium. So visceral pericardium is the glistening, right? Or the epicardium, it's also called. Okay. So it's the outer serous membrane, outer layer of the serous membrane. Okay. Right on the heart itself. Adipose is all the yellow.
And the pulmonary is
hangs out in the crevices basically, so it's thicker in some areas than others. Okay. Yep. Then it goes visceral pericardium or epicardium, then myocardium, then endocardium. That's the lineup. The other layers you can't see. Okay.
Let me take you home.
You can't take it home. You don't want to take it home.
I do.
So it has preservative all on it.
Yeah,
you don't want that.
Pulmonary trunk's in front of the aorta?
Yeah, pulmonary trunk's the diagonal. Yep. Artery in front. It's a little bit little on that side, but you can see the big diagonal.
Yeah, that's a nice one.
Yeah, that's a nice one. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
We will not be able to touch it.
Yeah, so it's much thinner. No, you're not going to touch it. No, so we're not going to have everybody touching it.
Sometimes orientation might be kind of,
Yeah, I'll make sure it's dissected properly so you can actually see it.
Okay.
We don't have to think about bigger,
I can even lean it up like this so you can kind of look over it, right? Okay. Aorta's going to be behind, right, the pulmonary trunk. Okay. Always. Okay. Aorta. Pulmonary trunk. They cut this is the pulmonary trunk here. Aorta in the back. Right. But if it's one of these flappy things, right, it has to be one of the auricles. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that covers it, right?